Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 9, Text 3. Tatrapi swajana sangja chavrisham udvijamano bhagavata karma bhanda vidvamsana sravana smarana guna vivarana charanara vrinde yugalam manasa vidhadat atmanah pratigatam ashankamano bhagavat अनुग्रहेणानुस्मृता स्वापूर्व जन्मावलिर्आत्मनाम् उन्मता जदान्ध बाधिरे स्वरूपेण दृश्यम् आस लोकस्य tatra api. In that Brahmana birth also, Swajana Sangha, from association with relatives and friends, Cha and Vrisham, greatly, Utvijamanaha, being always afraid that he would fall down again, Bhagavata, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Karma Bandha, the bondage of reaction of fruitive activities, Vitvamsana, which vanquishes, Shravana, hearing, Smarana, remembering, Guna Vivarana, hearing description of the qualities of the Lord, Charana Aravinda, lotus feet, Yugalam, the two, Manasa, with the mind, Viradhat, always thinking of Atmanaha, of his soul, Pratigatam, obstruction on the part of devotional service, Asan Kamanaha, always fearing, Bhagavat Anugrahe, by the special mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Anusmrita, remembered, Swapurva, his own previous, Janma Avalihi, string of birds, Atmanam, himself, Unmata, mad, Jada, dull, Andha, blind, Badira, the deaf, Swarupena, with these features, Drashyanam Ish Asha, Drashayam, he exhibited, Lokasya, to people in general. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada King. Due to his being especially gifted with the Lord's mercy, Bharat Maharaj could remember the incidents of his past life. Although he received the body of a Brahmana, he was still very much afraid of his relatives and friends who were not his devotees. Who were not devotees. He was always very cautious of such association because he feared that he would again fall down. Consequently, he manifested himself before the public eye as he would as a madman, dull, blind, and deaf, so that others would not try to talk to him. In this way, he saved himself from bad association. Within, he was always thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord and chanting the Lord's glories, which save one from the bondage of fruitive action. In this way, he saved himself from the onslaught of non-devotees association. Please repeat. Due to his being especially gifted with the Lord's mercy, Bharat Maharaj could remember the incidents of his past life. Although he received the body of a Brahmana, he was still very much afraid of his relatives and friends who were not devotees. He was always very cautious of such association because he feared that he would again fall down. Consequently, he manifested himself before the public eye as a madman, dull, blind, and deaf, so that others would not try to talk to him. In this way, he saved himself from bad association. Within, he was always thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord and chanting the Lord's glories, which save one from the bondage of fruitive action. In this way, he saved himself from the onslaught of non-devotee association. Purport. Every living entity is born by different activities due to the association with the modes of nature. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Karanam Guna Sangasya Sadasat Yoni Janmasu. This association is due to the association with the material nature. Thus, it meets good and evil among various species. We get different types of body among 8,400,000 species according to our karma. Karmana Deva Netrena. We work under the influence of material nature contaminated by the three modes, and thus we get a certain type of body according to superior order. This is called karma bandha. To get out of this karma bandha, one must engage himself in devotional service. Then one can be affected. Then one will not be affected by the modes of nature. Mamchavyo bhyabicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature, and thus comes to the level of Brahman. To remain immune from the material qualities, one must engage himself in devotional service. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, that is the perfection of life. And Maharaj Bharat took birth as a Brahmana. He was not very interested in the duties of a Brahmana, but within he remained a pure Vaishnava, always thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord. As advised in the Bhagavad Gita, Manmana Bhava Mat Bhakto Mad Yajimam Namaskuru. This is the only process by which one can be saved from the danger of repeated birth and death. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Shapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Sva Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shri Tapada Kamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamsta Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Dam Sajivam Zadvaitam Sadvadutam Varijana Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishadhamitamsta He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Jadhe Vrinda Vaneshwari Rishabhanu Shute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpadhrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patithanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namarom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravahani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today's verse, we see how we have started a new chapter where Bharat Maharaj, in the previous chapter, he was attached to the deer and he left his body thinking of the deer. He fell down and he took birth again now as a deer. But looking at the verses, that he could remember his past life by the mercy of the Lord. So you can see here, due to being especially gifted by the Lord's mercy, Bharat Maharaj could remember the incident of past life. So this is Of course, yesterday I think Tati Prabhu shared a video which I'm yet to watch about the reincarnation, right? How the boy is a fighter pilot and he remembered his past life. So nowadays, scientists, they say this reincarnation is a myth, but there was a scientist, if I find the name, I will share in the group. He did more than 4,000 studies on reincarnation. Huh? Stevenson. Yeah. So it is not, I mean, we always, accept something based on something can be perceived by our senses. If something cannot be perceived by our senses, we say this is not true. This is the fallacy of the modern age of Kali Yuga. So we cannot accept unless we can perceive through our senses. But what is our senses? That is pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means, aksha means eyes, to see. But what the eyes can see? How far you can see? Like if you see the sun, looks like so small, but it's so huge. Right? So based on senses, we are telling this is scientific, this is not scientific, and putting everything in a box. It cannot be acceptable. And sometimes these kind of signs will come that reincarnation is there. Of course, scientifically they still cannot prove it, but it will shake their faith a bit. But they will not accept somehow or other these foolish blind scientists and people who follow them and quote them. And so when we quote Shastra, very miraculous things, how there is the Jambu Dvipa and all these 7 oceans. They cannot understand how this is like. They think it's a big mythology, fairy tales. Even Hindus, honestly, we should really make a video on that. Because they think the Puranas are there as story form to educate what is in the Vedas. So Vedas, everything, it says that the Vedas, they teach like a master. I don't know the verse in Padma Puran. The Vedas, they teach as a master. And then the Puranas, they teach like a, not mother, I think poet, right? Friend. But the Srimad Bhagavatam teaches as the master, as a friend, and also lover, as a lover. So they think because this is the problem, they cannot reconcile what science says. Like example, I am actually making a video now. I hope I can release by 22nd of January because of Ram Janmabhoomi opening ceremony. So I'm trying to make a video on when did Ramayana happen. So according to modern scientists, astronomy, calculation, Ramayana happened 5000 BC. Mahabharata, at least, that is correct. 3000 BC, they have the date. Because 5000 years ago that happened, which is 3000 BC. So there's one guy called Pushkar Bhatnagar, he said it happened 5000 BC, and analyzing all the astronomical calculation. Then another person came, I think you all know him, Nilesh Oak, famous astronomer. He said it happened in 12,229 BC, based on the calculations. So that's the maximum they went. But then I went and analyzed the scriptures. Ramayana happened 18 million, I forgot the exact date, but 18 million years ago. Because now we are in the 28th Yuga cycle. Ramayana happened in the 24th Yuga cycle. So that is 18 million years ago. And these people cannot understand, what is this? Because you will not find any remains from 18 million years ago. It's very, very rare. Very difficult. Of course, some scientists found evidences of human remains which are 2 billion years old. That is in the forbidden archaeology. But they covered up all these things. So 18 million, very hard to find. So then you just do your own scientific measurements, this carbon dating, this 5,000. And many Hindus also accept, yes, 5,000. If anyone comes forward and says 18 million, these guys are all in the dream world. These Hare Krishna guys, they are all dreaming. So that's another way of being faithless, to blaspheme the Vedic literature and literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. So you are accepting Vedas, yes, but you're still doubting it, right? You're saying, no, cannot be 18 million. No, this is not scientific. If it's not within the scientific purview, we reject. So then you're still blaspheming, right? This is Vedic authority, is Shapta Brahman. Apaurashaya. It is not spoken by any man. It is spoken by the Supreme Lord, who is perfect, who is the perfect being. And you are with your imperfect senses trying to analyze this. How you will analyze? And if any of and we present the perfect knowledge, we will be labeled as these guys all are in fairy tale dreamland. So anyway, there will be people like, so there's like this, some group of people like doubting this, some group of people, devotees who are very faithful to the, Shraddhaval labate jnanam. Unless there is faith in scriptures, you will never understand these signs. What is that verse? 2 what? Shraddhaval labate jnanam. 439. Bhagavad Gita. Tatpara samitendriya jnanam labdva param shantim achirena adhigacchati. Krishna says, a faithful man who is dedicated to the transcendental knowledge, who subdues his senses, is eligible to receive such knowledge. So number one, you need to have faith. You must have faith in this knowledge. And then you also have to subdue your senses, not that you do anything and everything. You will not get it. Without the tapasya, without sense, without stopping sense gratification, this knowledge cannot be understood. Right? Of course, without surrendering to the spiritual master, it will not be understood also. And having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. Achirena adhikachati. Very fast, very quickly. So now, in today's verse, we are discussing about reincarnation, like Tati Prabhu was covering in this class. We don't go and specifically have to go and study reincarnation and do all these scientific experiments. The story is there in the Bhagavatam. Same time, the science is there also. So it's not that, like when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was teaching in his school, Gangadas Pandit school, he was a great Sanskrit grammar scholar. Nobody can. He'll come out with an argument, he'll defeat that same argument, he'll bring another argument, he'll defeat that. Nobody can do anything. Everybody sees him, they are having titles Bhattacharya, but they're not even 1% of his eloquent presentations of grammar. But after meeting his guru in Gaya, he became completely transformed into a devotee, and he cannot speak anything but Krishna. So that is the pure devotee. I mean, he's God himself, of course. Pure devotee, nothing comes out of the mouth but Krishna. Their mind cannot deviate from that. What is that? See verse Prabhu. Stavara Jangama Dekena. Madhya? So you see this verse. Stavara Jangama Dekena Deke Taramurti Sarvatahaya Nija Ishtadeva Spurti. Bhagavata, advanced devotee, certainly sees everything mobile and immobile, but he does not exactly see their forms. Rather, everywhere he immediately manifests the form of the Supreme Lord. This is the pure devotee. Bhagavata Pradhana. Anything that is material reminds him of spiritual. Right? For us, anything spiritual also will remind us of material things. Example, when we discuss the pastime of Radha Krishna, of course, that's why it's not openly spoken, because you will relate that to mundane love affair. You see? If you see Krishna playing as a child, you might think of your own child. Oh, my child also, shit in his pants. I had to do this. So we relate, but pure devotee, even a small thing which is sounding material, he only sees Krishna's hands in that. He always sees the person behind that screen of curtain. Maya Jamanika Shannam, Agyana Adokshajam. The Kunti Devi is saying. So he sees the actor behind that curtain. Like Prahlad Maharaj, what he was seeing? Everywhere he was seeing the Lord. Even within the pillar, he saw the Lord. Can we see the Lord in the pillar? No. So because they are spiritually possessed by Krishna Nam. So like that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was he had a miraculous transformation that he became was such an arrogant scholar. People Vaishnavas used to run away from him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is walking this lane, Vaishnava is coming. I forgot the devotee's name. He saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he immediately ran away. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, why this guy is running away from me? He asked his servant. The servant said, maybe because he don't want to waste time arguing with you all this grammar and politics and astrology. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, one day I'll teach the Vaishnavas a lesson. I'll become a best devotee among all of them. Like that he was making fun. So like that, after meeting Ishwara Puri in Gaya, he came back, he was totally a different person. And he was teaching the students in school, and not one word of grammar he could say about grammar, the normal grammar rules. He was only 10 days continuously, he was speaking about Krishna. Every word he was connecting to Krishna. Everything was Krishna only. And the students are very afraid. They don't know how to tell this. Don't know how to tell him. They went and complained to Gangadas Pandit. And Gangadas Pandit went and told him, I know you are a devotee. Your father does. I know you're like Krishna. I know you went to Gaya, you had a transformation, yeah. But your father is also a Pandit, Jagannath Mishra, great devotee of Krishna. But same time he was a Pandit. Your grandfather Nilambara Chakravarti also a Pandit. When they are teaching Sanskrit grammar, they are sticking to the syllables. They are not going everywhere Krishna, Krishna. So why don't you do that? Also, it's good to be a devotee, but do your material duty properly. Why you are doing this like that? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say, okay, I am sorry, I did this mistake, I will not do again. But the next class, immediately he went talking about Krishna, fainting. So you see, a pure devotee is not able to do a half leg here. That is the difference between a pure devotee and devotees like myself, Kanishta. So here you can see that how the Srimad Bhagavatam, even though he is teaching about reincarnation, which is like there's a lot of material subjects taught in Srimad Bhagavatam, but it's connected to the real goal of life, which is Krishna, which is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. He connected all the grammar to Krishna. So after the 10th day, what happened? He told his students, I'm very sorry, I don't think I can continue this class like that, because I cannot speak anything but Krishna now. And you are not learning anything like that. Then they all started to cry, and they understood. Say, actually, all that is taught in the Sanskrit grammar is useless, because if there is no link to Krishna, Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya, there is a prana dehasya mandalam lokaranjanam. It is like a dead body with nice jewelry. If there is no life in the body, what is the point serving that body? No matter how beautiful it is, it's a rotting dead body. Even if you dress with so much of gold, it's useless. Similarly, if anything which is not related to the Lord, there is no relation to the Lord, it is useless. So the students understood this point, and they said, no, actually you are the one teaching the real thing. After learning from you so deeply about everything, all subject matters, and also about Krishna, what is the point of us to learn from any other teacher? Right? Gita Sugita Kartavyam Kimanye Sastra Vistare. Right? If you have the auspicious Gita, Kim Anye Sastra Vistare, what's the use of any other scriptures besides this? Sankaracharya says, Eka Sastra Devaki Putra Gita. One Sastra is enough. Devaki Putra Gita. Eka Deva Devaki Putra Devo. One Lord is enough, Krishna. Eka Mantra Stasya Namani Yani. One mantra, Hare Krishna mantra. Karma api ekam api devasya seva. And one service, devotional service. This is all enough. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, all the books in the world can burn to ashes. The whole Nalanda University burned. We know how many months it took to burn. We lost all that knowledge. But still, because we have the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, that's enough. That's enough to save the whole human society. So, now the students, they are telling, there's no point in us. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan. There is no use in us to learn this. After learning the highest truth, what's the point degrading ourselves, learning anything else but this? So they all became devotees after that. So like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he quit teaching. He told the Gangadas Pandit, I am no longer able to teach anymore. And all the devotees also, many of them became renounced, they became bhaktas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told them only one thing, you just don't forget to chant. Always chant the holy name, keep the holy name in your tongue, no matter what happens. Associate with devotees. So similarly here, why am I quoting this story is, if you go to today's verse, we are talking about reincarnation. How Bharat Maharaj, he took birth as Jara Bharat after taking birth as a deer. So why I spoke all these points is because that reincarnation topic which the scientists are interested in is very easily blended in Bhagavatam subject matter. It's not like you have to separately study this. So it is said that even though he received the body of the Brahmana, so one more point you have to understand. If we go to the Bhagavad Gita, we have to understand a few points now. यतो हि अपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि परमातिनि हरन्ति प्रशाभं मनः. The senses are so strong and impetus, O Arjuna, that they forcefully carry away the mind, even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. This is exactly what happened to Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj, he was trying his best, he renounced everything, and he was trying to control the mind. But because the senses are so strong, right? Of course, we know the story. He did not capture the lotus feet of the spiritual master. And without the help of the spiritual master, he was overcome by that mind. So which it forcefully carried him. So as we saw in today, how this process happened, in Bhagavad Gita, we know, right? These verses. Sotram chakshusparshanam cha rashanam grahanam eva cha adhishtaya manaschayam vishayan upashevate. The living entity takes another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grounded about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense object. So like that, because of attached to the deer, right? He developed the same bodily features as the deer. The mind was attached, right? So the next verse. Utkramatam stitavapi bunjanam va gunavitam vimuda nanupashyati pashyati jnana chakshushaha. Foolish cannot understand how the living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of mode of material nature. But one with eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. So the normal foolish materialists who reject the scriptures, they cannot understand how this change of bodies are taking place. That's why Bhagavad Gita said, Dhiras tatra namuyate. One who's a devotee, he's dhira. He's sober, very sober. He understands how this change is happening. That's why he's not bewildered by the change of body. So in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was very bewildered. How will I kill? These are my swajana. Right? But Krishna educates him, the first point, about the soul. How the soul transmigrates from various bodies. So we go to the next verse. Yatanto yoginas chainam pashyanti atmani avashtitam yatantopi akratatmano nainam pashyati achetasaha. In endeavoring, transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly, but those whose mind are not developed or not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try. So what is happening is Jada Bharat is able to see. Despite reincarnating, by the mercy of the Lord, he is able to understand his past life. Huh? What's that? So basically, this is how the one who is self-realized, one who has the mercy of the Lord, karmana deva netrena jhanto deho pataye. So by the karma, one is taking another body. Sriya pravishta budaram, going into the womb of the mother. Pumsho reda karanasraya. He takes shelter of the semen of the father. Based on his desires, he's going into the womb of the mother. This happened to Jada Bharat. He born as a deer. And then he finally came out of it. He became a Brahmana, and he was still very much afraid. So why is he afraid? Because he could understand. So actually, this is not only the first time. There are many stories also. Like if you go to the Padma Puran, in Padma Puran, there is the glories of Bhagavad Gita mentioned from chapter 1 to chapter 18. So in chapter 1, there's a story of how this Brahmana, his name is Sushrama. He was not a good guy. He was a Brahmana, but he was doing a lot of abominable activities, illicit activities. And somehow after death, he had to go to hell and see Yamaraj. And he had to suffer a long time in hell. After suffering a long time, he came back to the world. And he took birth as a bull. And as a bull, he could remember his past life. See, so there's memory. And then he was remembering his past life. But then as a bull, he was becoming a servant to a crippled person. And this crippled person makes him carry a lot of heavy weight. And one day, while carrying this heavy weight, he could not take the weight, he collapsed. Like, in Rishikesh, we saw, the donkeys were carrying a huge amount of weight. So similarly, one day he collapsed and he was going to die very soon. Then what happened? All the Brahman people were around there, and they were seeing that the bull is suffering so much. They started to pray. Oh, can we pray that some portion of our good karma goes to the bull and helps him? Same time, when prostitute came there, this prostitute also prayed. Seeing everybody praying, the prostitute said, "Please give my good karma." Obviously, everybody thinks what good karma the prostitute has, right? So then he dies. He goes back to Yamaraj. And Yamaraj says, you don't need to suffer anymore. Now I'm going to send you back again. You become a Brahmana. And you continue your life and don't come back again. Don't make the mistake. You already saved once. You were saved by the punya of the prostitute, he said. So Yamaraj said the prostitute punya saved him, not the others. So he was thinking, wow, who is this prostitute? He came back again as Brahmana. He remembered again his past life. And then he grew up. He was searching for that prostitute. Of course, now she became old already. Somehow he found her and recognized her. And then I said, all these things happened to my life. Now you tell me what punya you did to save me. And then she said, I don't know. Every day I'm chanting mantras. I don't know what mantra I'm chanting also. Then she said, okay, but I can ask my parrot. So he asked, where did you learn this mantra from? I learned from my parrot. So okay, let's go to the parrot. So they went to the parrot, and then the parrot told, I am chanting the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Then they say, how you know this? So because last life, I also was a Brahmana. I was sinful. I died. So the parrot also remember his past life. Said, I was a sinful Brahmana. I went to hell. After going to hell, I took birth as a parrot, suffering so much. And because as a parrot, I was staying in the ashram of the rishis. And then in that ashram, the kids were chanting the Bhagavad Gita sloka. So, of course, we need to know with the meaning, but even chanting without knowing the meaning, you see the benefit? And you see how important for the kids to learn this mantra. So the parrot kept hearing the mantras chanted by the kids, the first chapter. The kids were very expert in the first chapter. And hearing, he also memorized it. And one day he got kidnapped by some thief who sold to the prostitute. And then the parrot said, this is how. So all of them understood how powerful the recitation of Bhagavad Gita is, and they started to recite. But of course, recitation with meaning. Because in one of the Prabhupada I was watching yesterday, because every time when I eat lunch, I try to watch the Prabhupada series following Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada went to Dallas, and the Dallas was the first Gurukul there. Of course, after that, after Prabhupada's departure, all crazy things happened. So, but before that, at least they were running properly in Prabhupada's presence. So the kids recited the entire chapter of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1. So the Mataji, she was in charge of the kids. She told that every day they memorize one verse. So they actually came, I think the entire school were able to chant almost 700 slokas also. Whoever could chant the 700 slokas, they got prize. So when Prabhupada came, all of them started reciting the entire chapter. So one person recited one chapter, another person recited one chapter, like that. After everything, Prabhupada, what he said? Okay, now tell me what's the meaning of this verse. And then they couldn't explain. And Prabhupada told the teachers, it's good to memorize, but you must know the meaning. So, so like that, but what is the verse, Prabhu? Even half a verse, that one talking about the verses, even reciting half a verse. 12 what? 12. You'll be fine. So you see how powerful this recitation is, that this person went to hell, came out, and then after that got liberated just by reciting the Bhagavad Gita. 12:59. You see this sloka. या एतत् श्रवयं नित्यं या क्षणम् अनन्यदिः श्लोकम् एकं तदधरं वा पादं पाधारम् एव वा श्रद्धवान् यो नुस्नुयात् पुनति आत्मनम् एव सः. One who with undeviating attention constantly recites this literature at every moment of every hour, as well as one who faithfully hears one verse or half a verse or a single line or even half a line, certainly purifies this very self. This same thing was spoken by Vishnu in the Gita Mahatmya chapter of Padma Puran. He tells to Lakshmi Devi, even if someone recites one chapter of Bhagavad Gita or even half a chapter, he is purified. Half a verse also. Just remembering half. So even you can see the story of Gajendra, right? How he was King Indradyumna, but he became an elephant. He was cursed by Agastya Rishi. And while he was being caught by the crocodile, somehow the remembrance came from past life, the Gajendra Stuti. Right? Madrik Prapanna Pasupasa Vimokshanaya Muktaya Bhuri Karunaya Namolalaya Swam Sena Sarvatanubrin Manasi Pratita Pratyak Drishe Bhagavate Namaste Brihate. So he was praying like that. So, I am born as an elephant now, but I want to, please save me from this situation. Right? So, how powerful, how much time we are spending, right? Make some time to memorize the slokas and the meaning. What is the real meaning of the verses? Right? Very important. So similarly now we can see how Jadabharat, he receives, we go back to the verse again, reincarnation happened, he became a Brahmana now after being a deer, and he was in a lot of fear. So what is happening is, sorry, I'm in the wrong verse. So, of course, he fell down. Let me just keep this tab. But he actually repented. You see this verse. Swapadamulam bhajata priyasya tyaktantya bhavasya hare paresha vikramaya chotpatitam katanchit dunoti sarvam hridi sannivishtaha. One who thus given up all other engagements and has taken full shelter lotus feet of Hari, Supreme Personality God, is very dear to the Lord. Indeed, such a surrendered soul accidentally commits some sinful activity. The Supreme Personality Godhead, who is seated within everyone's heart, immediately takes away the reaction of such sin. So the Lord actually, he had become a deer, but the Lord actually took away that sin, took away that forgetfulness, and gave him a body of the Brahmana now. And we can see as a Brahmana, he manifested, he was always cautious of association because he feared of falling down. So we must understand, fear is a very important point in devotional service also. If you see the Gyanis, they want to renounce everything. The Karmis, they want to enjoy, right? Ittam satam brahma sukhanubhutya, right? The one who is Gyanis, they want to renounce everything. The Karmis want to enjoy heavenly happiness. Kaivalya narakayate, tridasha pur akasha pushpayate. They want to go to the heavenly planet, enjoy senses. So they are doing all the karma kanda, fire sacrifice, and all these things. Whereas the Gyanis, they want to renounce every single thing. But a devotee, he is utilizing everything in the service of Krishna, even up to fear, even up to lust. Karmi was saying, no, cannot be lust, we must give up lust. But devotee is able to use lust for the service of the Krishna, like the gopis. Kama Krishna karma arpane. Gyanis will say, anger is not good, what kind of sadhu you are? But the greatest sadhu, Hanuman, used anger in the service of the Lord, right? Similarly, fear also can be used in the service of the Lord. How? And who was doing that devotional service in fear? You can see here. Devaki. So, we'll see in the purport. Prabhupada is explaining. Okay, see here. A pure devotee is always transcendentally situated of executing 9 processes of bhakti, yoga, shravanam, kirtanam, vishnu smaranam, pada sevanam, archanam, vandanam, dasyam, sakyam, atma nivedanam. Thus situated in devotional service, a devotee, although in material world, is not in the material world. Yet the devotee always fears because I am associated with material world, so many contamination affect me. Therefore, he is always alert in fear, which gradually diminish his material association. The devotee always fears this. He is not confident. I'm a devotee already. I'm now going to liberate everyone. I'm going to save the world. He never thinks like that. He always thinks how to avoid the association of non-devotees. Like that day, our Mataji, what's her name? Who's in Orissa now? Sashmita Mother. She was crying, so much. Why? Because she was saying, I fear of losing the association of devotees. I fear the association of non-devotees that I will somehow get contaminated, fall down. So I say, good Mataji, you're having that consciousness, you're doing devotional service by fearing this. This is the most important thing to fear actually. Yeah? Because association of non-devotees, karanam guna sangasyat sadasat yoni janmasu, you again take another birth. Right? What is that? Narottama Das Thakur said, Jnana, karma kanda, jnana kanda, sakale vishayre bhanda. So if you associate with the karmis, the jnanis, yogis, and not a bhakta, you are like drinking the pot of poison. Sakale vishayre bhanda. You get trapped. Of course, there's a continuous verse, which I don't know, but Amrita, it means that you are taking this poison like Amrita, and then you are taking birth like a pig. You're taking another body like a pig. Sung by Narottama Das Thakur, Prema Bhakti Chandrika. So, see, symbolically, Mother Devaki, constant fear of Kamsa, was purifying her. Devotees should always fear material association. In this way, all the asuras of material association will be killed, as the Sadgarbhas were killed by Kamsa. So, by constantly fearing, somehow you will, you will try your best not to, very cautious how not to fall down. Yeah. Sometimes you think I'm going to associate with my relative, what's the problem? Slowly, they'll say, never mind, no, what is this? Eat this, drink this. So if you want to be really serious in spiritual life, then is very detrimental. It will lead to the wrong, consequences. What is that verse? Sango yat smrite hetur asattu vihitodiya sa eva sadhu sukrito nishangat nishangatyaya kalpate. Association for sense gratification is certainly the path of bondage, but the same association performed with saintly person leads to the path of liberation, even if performed without knowledge. So even you know or not, fire will burn, right? That's correct. Fire, whether child, the fire will not say you are a child, I will not burn you. It will burn you. So similarly, whether you know or not, if you associate even Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy, even a small fraction of a second by associating with the sadhus, you are completely getting out of this material entanglement, right? So you can see in the purport also. So he says that, for example, Krishna met many kinds of living entities. Some treated him as an enemy, and some treated him as an agent of sense gratification. It is generally said gopis were attached to Krishna for sense attraction, and yet they became first-class devotee. Then Kamsa also was, they were attached to Krishna as enemies, but still they got liberated by associating with Krishna. This happens. Then what about the devotees who are carrying Krishna in the heart all the time? Right? So we should be very careful of this. Another important point, we can see this purport also, 21041. The Prabhupada writes very nicely. Okay. Okay, see here. As we have already seen in the life of Srila Narada Muni, he became Uchista Lepan. He had the remnants, right, of the Prashadam, of the sadhus. He became the topmost devotee of Lord simply by association of pure devotees of the Lord. By birth, he was the son of the maidservant and had no knowledge of his father and had no economic education, even the lowest status. But simply by associating with devotees and by eating the remnants of their foodstuff, he gradually developed the transcendental qualities of the devotees. By such association, his taste for chanting, hearing, and the transcendental glories of the Lord became prominent. And because the glories of the Lord are non-different from the Lord, he got direct association with the Lord, means sound representation. So this is one example. Narada Muni associated positively. And now, what do you have? A negative association? Similarly, life of Ajamil, 6th canto. He was son of Brahmana and was educated and trained properly in the discharge of duties of Brahmana. But in spite of all this, he was contacted with bad association of a prostitute and was put into the path of the lowest quality Chandala, or the last position of a human being. So the Bhagavatam recommends always association of Mahat, or the great soul, for opening the gate of salvation. So you see how these two stories are there to teach us? One is Ajamil, one is Narada Muni. Huh? Always on fire, on duty. So you see how powerful the association is. So this is what we should endeavor for. What is the greatest opportunity? Do you know what is the greatest opportunity that you can pray for? Two things. What is the greatest thing you can achieve? So it is mentioned here. The greatest opportunity is to have the association of saintly person. Of course, why I said two things, because in the first canto, Parikshit Maharaj says that there's two things that are very important. One is taking birth in the family of devotees. And another thing is to associate with the devotees. Of course, we may not have taken birth in family of devotees, but the second one we can do. Right? So before I wrap up, I want to finish with a story from the Mahabharata regarding this point of association, which is found in the Vanaparva of the Mahabharata, the story of Savitri. So we all know Savitri, right? Very, very famous story. Very chaste wife, very chaste woman. She saved her husband from Yamaraj also, right? You know that? Satyavan. So what happened? But we do not know what is the conversation she had with Yamaraj. Anyone knows? Huh? Does anyone knows the conversation they had? You know the story? You won't know because it is very philosophical. So now she was a king, daughter of a king called what's his name? I forgot the names. Ashwa something. Okay, Ashwapati. So she was a daughter of a king. So one day, what the father told her, usually marriage is done by arranging, right? But sometimes Kshatriya women, because they are qualified, the father let them choose. That's why they have Swayamvar ceremony. But this time, this one has no Swayamvar. He told her, you take the horse, chariot, you go and find who the suitable husband for you. So, so she, I mean, we cannot imitate such women liberation unless we are like Ashwapati and we have a daughter like Savitri. We cannot imitate. Okay, so so she went out, and then she went everywhere, every kingdom, and finally she came to this person called Satyavan, whose father is named Dush something. Again, I forgot what. I forgot the name. Satyavan's father. So Satyavan's father has a kingdom, but he was kicked out of the kingdom. Huh? Dyumat Sena. Yeah. So Dyumat Sena was kicked out of his kingdom and he was living in the forest without nothing, no money, nothing, like a beggar. He and his family, simple life. He's blind. He became blind also. So she went everywhere and she saw that the son of this Dyumat Sena, Satyavan, he is very suitable for my husband. So you can understand how qualified she is. She did not choose the husband based on his wealth, his beauty, his riches, but based on how much good qualities that person has. Because it is said that his qualities of dharma is like Yamaraj himself. His qualities of truthfulness, charity, his strength is like Indra, like that they were comparing. He's very beautiful like Ashwini Kumar. But he was a beggar, he had nothing. But she saw that this person is most qualified to be my husband. So that those days the qualification was not based on even wealth. It was based on how dharmic, how much devoted this person is to the Supreme Lord. And nowadays, if there is any arrangement of marriage that happens, how much bank balance you have, that is the first criteria, correct? That is how it is. Of course, in love marriage is not there, but I'm talking about arranged. So, I mean, even nowadays, this love all is anyhow, all lust only. So anyway, Dyumat Sena, so Satyavan, she comes back, and when she comes back, she sees Narada Muni talking to Dyumat Sena, Ashwapati. And then Ashwapati said, oh, my daughter, you're back. So who did you choose? Then she said, I chose Satyavan. He's in the forest. And Dyumat Sena, Ashwapati also said, very good choice. Narada Muni also said, very good choice. What a great person. All great qualities he has. He'll be very good devotee, husband. He will guide you back to Godhead. Like that Narada Muni was saying. Then after that, Narada Muni told to Ashwapati, but your daughter is making a big mistake. Then she said, what do you mean? You now only praised him and now you're saying I'm making the biggest mistake. He said, no, because he will die in 1 more year. His life is very short. He's not going to survive. She said, no, but I made up my mind. I will only accept this person as my husband and no one else. See how determined she was. She said, doesn't matter. I'll be fortunate enough. So chaste. I will be fortunate enough to serve such a husband. No matter what, he dies or not. Then Narada Muni blessed. And Narada Muni said, don't worry. I bless you all that you all will have a long life. So Sadhu's blessing is there. So confidently she said, okay, Sadhu blessing is there, I'm going to get married. Narada Muni promised, ready, you won't go wrong. So she got married, she went to the forest, and then she was serving as a menial servant to the father-in-law, mother-in-law, the husband. Like Devahuti, how she was serving Kardama Muni? Totally knotted hair, totally beauty, not even interested in material, nothing, no makeup, nothing. Just serving only. So then she was also having a calendar, and she was seeing the date when he will die. So that day, one day, what happened? The husband was getting a news. No, husband came with the axe and said, "I'm going to go to the forest, cut some wood." And then she said, "I'm coming with you," because she know this is the day. And then husband said, "How you will come? The forest is so dangerous. You should not come." She said, "No, you cannot deny me. I am serving you very nicely all these years. I mean, all these months. Today I am having this desire to come with you. Please let me come." And father-in-law, mother-in-law also, she asked them, "I want to go." And he said, "Okay, never mind, go." So while going, suddenly he felt chest pain. Head was spinning. He fainted. And then he felt, you can see his life was leaving his body. And then she understood he's dying. That's it. He's going to die. And then he saw this huge personality came, very dark looking, but very brilliantly effulgent. Yamaraj himself came actually. And then she asked, "Who are you? Why you are taking his life?" He said, "I am Yamaraj. I came to take his life." Then she said, "But you don't come. No, only the assistants come. Why you are here?" He said, "Because this person is a great soul. He's a great Dharmavan. He's done so much of Dharma that I myself want to honor him and bring him back." Then she started to talk to Yamaraj very calmly, very slowly. Usually, when we see somebody dying and we saw Yamaraj will be cursing and crying, "Rascal, get lost, what do you?" She was very calm. Because why? She understood the words of the Narada Muni will not go wrong. Association of Sadhu, right? She said, "Oh, my dear the Yamaraj, why you are taking him? Where you are taking him? I want to see the place. Can I follow you? I want to follow you." Yamaraj said, don't, don't. You cannot follow. This place is not for people like you. It's for people who are dead. People have died. This place is for them. You cannot come. Say, "No, please, let me come." No, husband always, wherever the husband goes, wife must go along. Cannot be separated at any time. So like that, first thing, you know what she told? She told, "Do you know something? I want to tell something." She said, "For the sadhus, the most beautiful quality. What is the ornament of the sadhus?" And everybody likes to wear ornament, no, to beautify ourselves. But what is the ornament that beautifies that sadhus? She quoted this verse. I mean, she never quoted this verse, but it's exactly the same. Titikshava akarunikaha suhirda sarvadehinam ajata satrava shanta sadhava sadhu bhushana. So this is the ornaments of the sadhus. He is very tolerant and merciful, friendly. He has no enemies, peaceful, he abides by all scriptures, characteristics are sublime. So when she said this line, he was very pleased. Wow, who are you talking so nicely, Dharma? Because he always punishing sinful people, no? Right? So he was sick and tired of singing sinful people, and somebody speaks some words of Dharma, he was very happy. He said, "Very, very nicely you told. Very nice. So I want to give you a benediction. What benediction you want?" She said, "Okay, I want benediction that my father-in-law, he should not be blind anymore. He should be getting his eyesight back." He said, "Oh, what a good..." You're not even asking for yourself. You're asking for your father-in-law. Very good. Then she continued walking some more. She said, "Okay, now I have told you about the ornament of the sadhus. Now I'll tell you what is the best thing a normal person can do. What is the best thing?" Then he asked, "What is the best thing?" He said, so we'll go to the following verse. We already saw this, right? Yeah, we saw this just now. He says that, this is the verse. Tat etai sadhava sadhavi sarva sangha vivarjitaha sangasteshu atate paratya sangha dosha harahite. My mother, so this is a verse spoken by Kapila Dev to Devahuti. My mother, virtuous lady, these are the qualities of the great devotees who are free from all attachment. You must seek attachment to such holy men, for this counteracts the pernicious effects of material attachment. It's exactly the same thing she says. The ornament of the people in general is to associate with the sadhus. By seeking their association, they will be free from all these material miseries. Last kama, krodha, lobha, matha, matsarya. They will come out of this cycle of birth and death. Then he say, "Oh, very, very nicely said. What benediction you want?" He said, my father-in-law is suffering in the forest, lost the kingdom. He should get back the kingdom. Right? Then, of course, it goes on. I forgot what's the third thing happened. Huh? Yeah. But before that, something happened. She will tell something. So she basically speaks on this topic only. How great the sadhus are, how we should seek their association. Then she says, when you seek the association, what is the result of that association? So she continues walking and then she quotes the next verse. Satam prashanga mama virya samvito bhavanti hrit karana rasayana kataha tad joshanara asu apavarga vartmani shraddharatir bhaktir anukramishyate. What is the end goal of this association? In association of pure devotees, the discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and heart. So in that association, what happened? Krishna Katha enters into the Pravishta Karana Randrina, enters into the ear and sits in the heart, and the bhakti for the Lord manifests. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed from his attraction and become fixed. Real devotion and devotional service begins. So she says the real goal of this association is to develop that association with the Supreme Lord Krishna, with the Supreme Brahman, Krishna, the Parabrahman. So again he says, wow, what a nice thing you have said. So beautiful, very well spoken. No? So this time what benediction she asked? She asked 4 things. The first one was to get the eyesight, get back the kingdom. My father, she's the only daughter. He doesn't have any children. Please bless him with hundreds of sons. Ashwapati. He said, yes, I bless. Ashwapati should get sons. Well, Yamaraj is very powerful, no? He's son of the Surya Bhagavan himself. So like that, continue walking. Said, okay, now you came too far. You should go back. You should not come further. Say, no, I have one more thing to tell. Say, what is that? He said, do you know what is the motive behind all this? What is the basis of all this? Sadhus, people following the sadhus, having devotion for God, for Krishna. What is the basis of this? What is the basis of having trust in anyone? What is the basis of having trust in the sadhus? The basis is love. Unless there is love, there is no meaning at all to what we are doing in life. So because the sadhus love us so much, and we also love them, we trust them so much, we trust their words, and we follow in their association, we will get the ultimate love of Godhead. Something like that she told. Of course, not until love of Godhead. But she was bringing everything to the point of the loving relationship that we have to cultivate with the Supreme Lord. This is the whole thing that is running the universe. And after saying that, he was so impressed. He said, wow, I am so melted by what your words are. What more? One more benediction. What do you want? He said, I wish I have 100 of sons who are like my Dharmavan, who are dharmic like my husband. He said, okay, I bless you. Then she continued walking. Okay, why you're not going back? I already given you all benediction. Say, but if you want that one to fulfill, then my husband has to come alive, right? He said, oh, you tricked me. I said, never mind. It's okay. I am not disappointed in being tricked by you. You are a great soul. Your husband is a great soul. I am happy to serve you all. I'll give him back his life. Go back. So when she went back with the husband, and everybody saw how the life changed. Viparita. Dushkaram Shukaram Bhavet. Something which is inauspicious became auspicious. Right? Vishmritte Vipriya Syat. What is this verse? Katanchana Smrite Yasmin. If you remember the activity of the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Dushkaram Sukaram Bhavet. What becomes inauspicious becomes auspicious. If you forget Vishmritte Viparya Syat, which becomes, if you forget the auspicious thing become inauspicious. Sri Chaitanya Namamitam. By memory, remembering the Lord, everything becomes auspicious. Similarly, when she came back to the place, and everybody saw, her life became opposite now. She was in the forest like a beggar. With the husband, now they became king. Everything came back, wealth came back, hundreds of children, all became very good devotees. So she told everyone, what is this? They asked her, what is the secret? She said, the secret is to take shelter of the sadhu. And Narada Muni has promised it will happen. So by pleasing the sadhu only this can happen. So from this you can understand how our Jada Bharat is also in the same consciousness that he is in fearfulness. He don't want to associate anyone but the sadhus because he want to achieve the highest goal of life, which is love of Krishna. Okay, so this is the points of today's class. I think I'll end here. Any questions? Yes. What? It is there. All the books are there. But he's saying that even if there's no other book, but only Bhagavad Gita survive, then that is enough. Understand? So Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam is the same thing about Krishna and Krishna's pastime. They are in the same category. In fact, Bhagavatam is even higher than the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So there's nothing else, right? Radhika Mataji quoted the verse. Veda Puranam Kavyam Cha Prabhu Mitram Priyave Chabhodayatihi He Prabhu Strivit Bhagavat Punaha. The Vedas, Puranas and poetic works Kavya instructs like a master, friend and beloved. So the supreme love we are talking about just now, it can be attained through the association of the Bhagavatam and the person who are the living Bhagavatam. Right? The one who carries the Bhagavatam in the heart is also the same as Bhagavatam, the Mahabhagavatas, because they live their life exemplary to the Bhagavatam. Right? Bhagavad Vida Bhagavatas, Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibhu, Tirti Kurvanti Tirtani, Swantastena Ghadabrataha. So wherever the pure devotees go, they are carrying the holy pilgrimage in their heart, the Bhagavatam in their heart. That's why they are able to infect everyone with that association. Okay, so we'll stop here then.